Hi everyone, Stuart here. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the evocative sound of Americana guitar. One of the great things about this style is how you can find new ideas in familiar things. Before we start, remember to check out the links below so you can get hold of the tab, Backing Track and My Country and Americana guitar books. Okay, let's start by exploring some things you can do with open position chords in Americana. One of the main features of Americana guitar is to play chords that have colour. So that means things like sus2, sus4 chords. Now the chord progression here is the 1 chord, C major, to the 5 chord, G major, the 6 chord, A minor, and the 4 chord, F major. But in Americana, the 1 chord, the C, is going to end up being played as maybe a C sus2, or a C sus4, or a C major with that embellishment on the 4th string, or you can play a C add 9, and then the 5 chord, instead of playing a G, you'll commonly see a G sus4, or G7 sus4, or even a G13 sus4. The 6th chord, the A minor, can become an A minor 7, or an A minor 11 with the open 4th string, or an A minor 7 sharp 5. And that means you can then do more embellishments on the 4th string, and then the 4 chord, the F, often gets played as an F major 9, or you also get an F major with a 6 in the open D string, and this is a really common F major 9 shape. Or you'll see an F add 9. So you can add all that colour to make that chord progression more interesting, and that's what we'll see in the first couple of bars of this track. Another common technique in Americana is to embellish simple chords with melodies like this. One of the most common embellishments in Americana is to take a C sus2 chord, this one, and then hammer on to the 2nd fret of the D string like this. Or you can take a C major chord and hammer on from the 2nd fret of the D string to the 3rd fret of the D string with the 4th finger. Or you can pull off. Some of these ideas are specific to certain keys. We're in the key of C here, so the 4 chord is F major, and in this key there are various ways you can give that chord more character. The main challenge with F-type chords in Americana is that you want to keep the open 3rd string and the open 1st string, the open G and the E, ringing. So often that means you have to hook the thumb onto the 1st fret of the low E string, onto the 6th string, and play kind of like a C major chord shape, but with that thumb hooked over. It's such a gorgeous chord. But you have to watch out that you're not accidentally just muting any of the strings, in which case you lose some of the colour. Here's the first 4 bars of the track. The basic chord progression is C to G, A minor and F. But now you'll hear how those embellishments and open strings create that evocative Americana sound. The next section features 3 chords, G, A minor and F, but we're going to try to use those ideas you've just studied to make these chords more interesting. You sometimes find unexpected twists in Americana chord progressions, and using what's called secondary dominance is a common way of doing that. Here's how that works in this track. A really cool chord device, a really cool way to play through progressions is, before you get to the minor chord, the 6th chord, put the 5th of that chord before it as a 7th chord. So if I'm playing an A minor chord, I can precede it with an E dominant 7. And we see this in bar 7, so we go from the G sus4 chord to this E7 to an A minor 7. Here's the next part of the track slowly. Adding melodies within chords is a great tool when you find yourself sitting on just 2 chords over a couple of bars. The next section is just C major to F major, but the embellishments and chord voicings keep things interesting. Americana soloing is all about keeping things melodic and sparse, usually focusing on chord tones to underline the progression, or even using chords themselves. Let's break my solo down. The solo is just based on a C major scale with a couple of passing notes. Those are notes that don't belong to the key. So it starts like this. There's a passing note, the D sharp on the 4th fret of the B string. It shouldn't be in the key, but it's only there briefly. And that takes us up to this C major triad. And the E is on the top of that C major triad. So you can see that we've basically walked up the B string. And then we raise the notes on the D string. So that's a C major triad, a C augmented triad, and then a C6 or an A minor. And then we briefly go to the C Mixolydian scale before we move to an F major triad here. So this is the F major triad shape, but I just play the 2 notes on the B and the D string, which is the 3rd, an A, and the root, the F. And then we go down to here, and that's just another F major triad. And again, I play the root and the 5th on the D and B strings. A big tip when soloing is to start well and plan your route to the end of your solo. Here's how I close this one. The last part of the solo is just played out of this F major 9 chord to this country phrase. And that's just 2 notes on the B and the E strings at fret 5 and 3. It's kind of a pedal steel phrase really, but what we're looking out for is the chromatic movement as we just move down a semitone each time. So we go from a C chord down to a G7, then to an F sus2, and then finally a C major. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the Patreon page for more lessons and tracks, and you can find my guitar books on Amazon worldwide. See you next time.